P-Town, and builders, artists, people who had politics, budding lawyers, budding writers, and the ladies. There were a lot of ladies here in the old days. People forget that in 1968-69, ladies were not allowed to actually work behind the bar. And we had a lady here who was a licensing commissioner, Minister McLaughlin, a saintly lady in her own way, but she used to bust us quite regularly for women wearing no bras, number one. Number two, also people drinking outside, they were doing crafts, and we had O'Brien's funeral parlor on the and people forget that the O'Brien family were big backers of the Kennedys going way back. It was an old democratic family, well respected and liked. So we originally were going to name this place Finnegan's Wake, but the irony was too much for Irish American Catholic. So we named it more to do with Vietnam, and I got permission from the widow of Casey to use the name, and the name stuck. It represented peace and reconciliation in many ways. I'm glad to say my brother has taken up that cause to great success all over the world. And despite the fact we had some major fights in this place, that brings to mind Jack McDonough, weighing about 205 pounds, all muscle and an attitude to go with him, and Vernon used to come up from P-Town, another big hulk of the Norwegian. And they would get into it, hissing contests at the bar, early in the morning, of course. In those days, a glass of Falstaff was 15 cents, and a shot was 25 cents. Now, you fellas can figure out inflation very quickly, particularly out the price that we have today. But when they get into a fight, they literally, the bar would shake. This is a new bar, but the bar, they actually produced a crack in the bar, which we point out to the result of these two. They were monthly men. Jack went on to a long life in P-Town, where he lived in a renovated lavatory, and that was typical of Jack. He was going through his dada period at the time. And according to another man who's dead, unfortunately, Mel Higgins, who was a wonderful financial man, he worked for Fidelity, one of the top positions, but in the weekends, he went to P-Town and put his dress on and played the piano. He was an interesting man. But they said when Jack died, they cremated Jack's body, and then Jack wanted to be buried out at sea, so they all put the money together to hire a boat, and the chief of police and the chief of the fire brigade accompanied the ashes to make sure that the burial was far out. That was Jack's reputation. But he was part of that group, and Ed was part of that group earlier on. And I didn't know Ed that well. I mean, we all worked our own ecosystems in those days. I was involved with some composers and novelists and political involvement in politics in those days. So we all had our own little group. And I remember Ed being very proud of his work at Apt Associates in those days. Now, I think they were involved with model cities at one point, and Ed worked there. So he part of that passion that came out of Mr. Harrington, the famous Mr. Harrington, who wrote the book about socialism here back in the early 60s, who basically wanted to see people in service. And he always maintained that passion for the lesser among us. And the lesser being lots of people. I can't remember the name of the chap, but Dan, you might remember him. He was an African-American guy, speech in jail. He had a reputation for his calm. I can't remember his name, but he hired a lot of these fellows to do routine surveys for him as part of his work. And I think that lasted for a year or two. But he was really quite interested in social issues such as housing. And for those of you who may remember that we had rent control once upon a time here.
Yeah,
exactly. And of course that's all gone. His other attribute was we share two things in common. First of all, sailing. He had a Hinkley boat. Now, for those of you not up on the inside of the boating or the yachting world, as they call it, a Hinckley is a wooden boat made before the Second World War. Hence it's called a classic boat and can participate in the classic boat races. So it must be a certain vintage. So these races were held, one in the Opera House down in Nantucket, where I had to see him quite a lot. And he'd be there. That was a busy weekend. And they all used to hang out in a bar called the Opera House, run by this wonderful woman. If she knew you, you could run a bill for 1 year on great days. But if you came back the following year and didn't give her a check, you were part of the life. I think it was a great race and a great entertainment and lots of fun. There were 3 or 4 strays that would come from that side. John DeWolf Hall, Freddie Croft. These are all people who sail wooden boats for a living. They would lease them out down in the Caribbean or the islands during the winter, and they'd have enough money from those leases to varnish and paint the boat. That was a big part of the Hinckley. The Hinckley would eat up money. I remember Ed discussing the type of varnish of the hull, and he knew a lot about his boats, etc., etc. And the only time I saw him here, he had a look, a practical look in a second. He could actually point to look, a stare, but it wasn't hostile. It was a inquisitive. So I remember there was a drug dealer in here that tried to throw out a number of times, Dick Strong. Some may remember Dick Strong. Agreed. And Dick would come over to Ellen and I in a place over Spark Street, and he would sleep in the foyer. And was really upset our landlady. Eventually, and he'd pee in the place also. But Dick basically didn't like competition here. And we discouraged the heavy drugs. The McDonough brothers, no relation to Jack, by the way. They were involved in that, and they got busted. One was actually, he shot himself with a shotgun. So we've had a number of tragedies here, but Ed was not one. Ed supported what I call the atmosphere here. I used to describe as controlled chaos in the old days. And different people with different agenda. We have the scoundrels, schizophrenics, scholars, and then we have the usual bagage of the hangers-on. Some musicians. It was a motley crew.
Bagage.
Bagage, exactly. Garage and bagage. And I miss, I regard you all now as senior fellows. Just to demystify the fact that the cloud did not make money, and I'm not retiring on large pensions. If anything, the cloud will be losing money for quite some time. But Porrick and my son Gabriel have changed a tradition of keeping this institution afloat because it belongs to the people, and you are the people. In the memory of Ed.
I want that.
Yes.
You send that?
Yeah, I will.
Thank you so much, Peter. And now I'd like to introduce an old friend,